Welcome back to Bringing Hope and Freedom. Today we're going to talk about reviewing and reflecting. A couple weeks ago during service, you told us all that we should take an hour out of our time and
I did say that.
Review.
I'm glad that somebody listens to
We're
what I say.
listening.
Yeah.
taking notes. We do the whole thing there.
Hey, you know.
But you told us to take an hour and reflect on what God's done for us in the last year and what we want God to do for us the year coming up.
Sure.
So we figured this would be a great opportunity for all of us to go over what has happened to us in the last year and what we're looking forward to. You want to go first, Al?
Oh, sure. So I really encourage everyone to do this. I've been thinking about this ever since you said it. And I am really blessed.
You are. You are really blessed. That's a true statement.
Yeah, I have a good life.
Yeah.
So I could think about this last year, but I could probably go back 2 or 3 years because I can think of 3 major things that God is leading me through or doing for me.
Yeah.
One being work. So I've been at the same job for almost 25 years.
That's a huge deal.
It is. And we're like a family, and most of the people that work there, I've worked with them for about that long.
Wow.
So, yeah. And this last year, we've had some internal changes, a lot of moving around, people leaving, people coming. And at the beginning of the year, I was praying for God to send us good people to work with, people that actually want to work, have great work ethic, and
it seems like a need that everybody needs right now. It's like, we need people that want to work.
Right?
That's everybody's prayer. Their job.
Wants to work.
Nobody wants to work.
Yeah. So.
Or few people. It seems there are fewer and fewer people that want to work.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And so I've seen that like working out in my work life, which is great. That we have some new people coming on board, and they're awesome people so far that are doing a really great job. Good job, guys.
Because you're watching this.
So that's the one thing. The other one is this podcast. I never, ever, ever would have thought in 100 years that I'd be doing something like this. I mean, did you think we'd be doing something like this?
No.
And it's just so funny how God works these things out. I mean, I was praying for him to use me, but I never thought it would be like this.
Sure.
I thought it would be in some volunteer role or something.
Are you getting paid for this?
Nah.
Are you guys selling ad space on the side? I know that's what Matt does. He's selling the podcast on the side. That's how you guys are paying for these vacations that are coming up.
Well,
that's right.
And I would say the final one, the big one, is my healing. Mm-hmm. So it's been 2 years, 3 years since it started. And after all of the doctor's visits and the surgeons and the surgeries and the neurologist appointments and being on medication that made me groggy and I couldn't focus, and just after all of that to today, I was actually reflecting on how far I've come from this time last year. I had friends in town, and there were things we wanted to do that I couldn't participate in because it was too much, movement or, not. I couldn't move. I couldn't sit too long. I couldn't stand too long. Couldn't walk too long. I couldn't do anything. And so fast forward to now, I mean, I'm like totally much, much better from that. And I just feel like, wow, that's no medication. I've been praying. I've been seeing a chiropractor, which I think is really helping me.
Sure.
So that's the big one. And
that's a
really
huge deal, right?
Oh, it's a huge deal. And I kind of try not to make it a big deal because I do have bad days where I don't even want to get out of bed. But then I'm like, look how far I've come. Mm-hmm. And sometimes Matt will be like, you are not healing as fast as I think you should. So I'm like, sorry, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, I know.
And
husbands are that way though, I think.
Yeah, he's like,
men are that way.
I'm not going to say.
Men are, I just think that when it comes to physical things, men don't deal with the same issues on a consistent basis that women do. And if we dealt with some of that stuff, check me into the ER. I'm not getting I'm not leaving the hospital until you stop this.
Yeah.
We don't deal with that.
We don't deal with it well at all.
No, we don't, and we don't deal with it well, and we don't deal with it on a consistent basis. So I think women just deal with more physical things in their bodies than men do, and as a result, have a better perspective on certain things.
Yeah.
And men deal with other things differently than women, and they they have a better perspective. But I just think when it comes to that physical stuff, women are a little bit more patient because they're like, look, man, I deal with stuff.
That's what I said. It's like, listen, it's me, it's my body. I can tell how far I've come since then. And I also think, I guess I think about this all the time. I think like all of those doctor's visits and that researching and WebMDing this and WebMDing that and like just getting in my head about it. But there was a point where like I could hardly walk, the pain was so bad. And like now I'm exercising again, lifting weights, walking every day. Granted, something else hurts every day, like a different part of my body, but I think I'm just at that age where
I can the last 2 weeks, my turning left and right is real tough. And I'm like, man, I don't remember taking it. I know I hurt myself a little bit, but I'm like, I don't remember it taking like weeks to get over something.
Right? Yeah.
I do think it's part of the human experience. As we get older, our bodies do take longer to recover. There are certain things that we can do, but I also believe it's part of the human experience, right? There's all these reminders that we are human. There are all these reminders that our bodies are kind of fading. And even though people want to act that that's not true, it is true. Yeah. And the promise of Christ in us is that we're not limited to these physical things forever. And I think it's one of the things that churches should talk about more and pastors should talk to people about more. It's like, no, you're going to get older, your body's going to fade, but you're more than just your body.
Yes.
You're more than just these things. And then the offer of Christ is, hey, be more than just your body now. Live in that freedom now.
Yeah.
But there is that sense that we have as humans where the flesh is going to wear out, and then it needs to wear out. That first part of creation is going to wear out, and it needs to wear out. And then the promise is a new creation that's an eternal creation. And that's one of the things we'll talk about in 2026. But it's an important part. Like, you're not limited to your physical body forever, and there's hope in that.
I can't wait to get a new body.
Exactly.
That's going to be great.
Exactly.
I also think that throughout this whole process of like healing and praying and thinking about all these things, that God is building my faith. I think He's putting me through this trial for a reason. I don't know what it is, maybe, but I think that it's going to definitely be my testimony for someone else who's like struggling with that.
Well, it is already part of it.
Yeah, hello, look at me talking about it.
He's talking about it, unpacking it, and I can even remember when we were talking about healing a while ago and walking through that process. And so I don't think God brings the issues directly into us. I do think that we deal with things as a part of being human, right? There's the reality of the fallen nature of creation and where we're at. Sickness is, part of the fallen nature of creation around us, and we deal with that. Suffering is part of the human experience, and we deal with that. And so what God is God provides us strength as we walk through those difficulties. And when we turn to Him, we can find that strength to deal with the present circumstances and to get stronger for the next circumstance that's up. Because as life goes on, it doesn't necessarily get easier, it gets harder, and there's new things for us to deal with. And God is a good God. And I think if people would learn to come to God, they would learn that God's not necessarily going to sprinkle magic fairy dust and the problems are going to go away. Rather, there's issues that we face as humans, and God strengthens us for those issues. Along the way, we can decide, you want to get stronger and stronger and stronger, or do you want to grow weaker and weaker and weaker? And I think one of the offers of God is, why don't you just grow stronger? Grow stronger. The problems don't necessarily go away. Your ability to handle the problems becomes greater. And so there are things that I face in my life and responsibilities that if other people face them, I know it would destroy them. But because I face them constantly, and because I face them with the Lord, I get stronger. Versus me 20 years ago, would have cried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I could have gone through that last year without, God. Because I wouldn't have gone to him, say, 10 years ago if I had something like this happening. I'd just be probably on the medication, just struggling, not really thinking that there's something else out there that can heal me or help me. Yeah.
Are we doing the previews now, or are we just doing the reviews first?
Yeah, previews, yeah.
So you're hitting the previews?
Yeah, I don't know that I really have any. Like, I just want the next year to be as good or better than this year.
Yeah, improvement.
Improvement, yeah, in everything. Yeah, that's really all I got.
If you could say that you wish that one thing would be true in the new year, if you could think through that, like, I wish at the end of next year, looking back, this was true. Do you have that somewhere inside you?
I wish I was completely healed.
Great.
No leg pain, no back pain.
So the reason I ask the question that way is sometimes when I'm doing like reviews and previews with people, like, I don't really know, I just want it to be better. I'm like, okay. So I've had to learn to ask certain questions that help us process it. So I think one of the questions that people could ask, because we want them to learn how to do this too, right?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things that people could ask as they look forward, a preview is a looking forward into what we would like to be true. Well, people wish for things all the time. And when you're saying a wish, it somehow takes goals out of it in people's minds. So what would you wish to be true when you look back on this next year? What would you wish to be true about your life? Now, we know that we don't want to wish, and wishes don't mean anything, but we start there and then we can create a plan around it. So that's why I ask it that way. What do you wish to be? Well, like for instance, okay, so that's about your health. What would you wish to be true about your spiritual life? A year from now, looking back, what would you wish to be true?
Probably that I didn't question things that I pray for.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a greater sense of faith?
Yeah, because I'll pray for something and I think, well, that probably won't happen, so I'll pray for this instead. Like it's.
I'm gonna lower it. Let's
I may scale that back.
Yeah, that was like a level 10 prayer.
It's a really big ask.
So we're going for like a level 3.
Yeah. I wish I wouldn't do that anymore. I do that often.
Okay, that's great. That's a good one. So the basis of that is, love and acceptance and trust in God, that God's a good God, and that the gifts that come to God are not based on our good behavior. And I think fundamentally that's an important thing for everybody to learn with God. I'm constantly learning that about God. It's like, it's not my good behavior that gets him to love me. Yeah. It's not my it's not all the work that I do that gets him to see. No, he sees and he loves us. And learning to exist in that relationship with the Lord is how you have a healthy relationship with God. Learning real dependency on him, and that he cares for you and that he loves you, and that your good behavior is not why he gives you the bonus check at the end of the year. You get your healing, Holly, because you were nice to people.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
That's not how it works, but that's how people have a relationship with God so often. But that's not what he is. He's not a man. He's not a human. And that's how we exist in our relationships with humans. And it's unhealthy, but it's certainly unhealthy in our relationship with God. So those are some good previews. Yeah. So full healing in your body.
Thanks for dragging it out of me.
That's what I'm here to do. Full healing in your body, and then learning a greater dependency on the Lord by understanding that he loves, by walking in that love, by walking in that trust, right? He loves you completely, as screwed up as you are today.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a good thing. I love that about God. And it's very reassuring to me that he loves me without having to fix me first. So he loves me at the state that I'm in, and then he has the power to help me. That's a trustworthy person to serve.
Meet you right where you're at.
Right where you at.
Yeah, you don't have to fix anything before you get there to see him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, come all to me who are broken. That's what Jesus says. Come to me who are broken. Come to me who are weary, and I'll bring you rest. So one of the things I'm going to talk about on Sunday. Come to me. All right, those are good.
Next.
Good.
Mine aren't as good as yours, but maybe you should have went after me. So looking back.
Oh, he's got a Christmas shirt on.
Yeah, did you see that?
Look at you.
There is a whole story behind this shirt today, but that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, we can't get into that right now.
There was a long conversation before we
nice.
left the house today.
Don't forget it. We'll bring it back.
That'll be on the marriage. We'll revisit
That will.
Yeah.
We'll do episode 3 on marriage.
We're wearing the same shirt.
That's right.
So, looking back to last year, I actually like totally stopped my day, sat down with a piece of paper, put my phone away, and thought about this stuff. And the last year, Hall's parents moved to Florida, and now are near and closer to her, which I know was something that, she always like kind of had in the back of her mind. Got to go to Pittsburgh this year, celebrate my mom's birthday with her, a milestone birthday, see friends and family. I was sick for 2 months this year, where couldn't eat anything, and no
Wild.
answers on
pretty
anything.
scary, yeah.
Wild.
Spent many a nights, not being able to even keep water down, and
the ER.
I went to the ER a couple times for IVs, and no one found anything wrong with me, and I came to men's night.
Yeah,
I came to because I wasn't.
I was just thinking you were on a diet.
I came after.
I'm joking.
But
That was the catalyst to his.
that took the extra
that
10
started-
pounds.
Ken and I were like, man, what?
Yeah.
Getting in shape, dude.
Well, I mean, I did. This year I lost, a lot of weight. Got my health under control. Started doing something again that I really didn't think I would start doing again, was like running, and it actually, I hated running. I did it in high school, and it just brings back, my dad yelling at me to run more. And
I knew you were going to say that.
it does. It
Sorry,
brings
Dad.
up all these bad high school memories. Of
Run harder.
Yeah.
But it opened me up for, my half hour of time in the morning with God, and listening to Christian music and praying, and figuring out my day. So a lot of good stuff has happened in my year, for sure. Starting this podcast, and figuring it would last maybe a month. You'd get tired of us and be like,
We weren't sure
all
what was
right,
gonna
we're out. Find somebody new. These two are done. But and it's opened up our faith together as like a couple to where we're talking to people more about what God's doing in our lives on a daily basis, not just, sitting here in front of this camera, but, we go to dinner with friends who aren't Christians, and we're talking about this. So I think it's helped us a lot. What do I want for next year? I wrote this on my piece of paper. From my ears down, to stop hurting every day when I wake up. You turn 45 and everything from your ears down hurts.
Oh man.
But
Get ready.
Hey, I don't receive that. I don't receive that.
But
As I told Finn, I'm gonna take steroids if I have to.
you're gonna be the bulked up pastor.
I'm gonna be the bulk pastor. She was talking about a T-shirt for the podcast, and I was like, and she was going through sizes. I was like, well, it depends on the fit, but I don't want to be one of those pastors where it's like,
their bicep.
I have a shirt 2 sizes too small.
You point to someone in the crowd, it becomes a cutoff.
You.
Also, I want like this to grow. What we're doing here, I want it to grow within the church. I want it to get out to more people. I want my VIP list to stop growing. I want it to shrink down.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
We started these VIP lists where we put people's names on the list of people we want to see saved, whether they're family members or just friends. And I started with 1. I think I have 3. So, I've got names beside names.
Yeah.
I've even put like Uncle Bob and Aunt Milena and kids, so it could just take 1 line instead of a whole.
Sure.
But so I'm hoping to make those lists shorter. Keep praying for people. And then I got my parents coming down next year to stay with us for a couple months. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And I'm stressing about it that time. So
They might be too. We don't know.
Yeah.
my mom and I are very similar. So we butt heads a lot when we're like contained in small spaces.
You and your mom?
Yeah.
Oh, I would think.
And then, Dad is just my dad. And, You know, we call it talking like Mike Ardino, where he'll say something to us and we're completely lost.
I can't wait till he sees this. This is going to be so funny.
Because he knows it's true.
Yeah.
We call it a Bart Starr moment, which is a family joke.
Yeah.
But you'll say something to him and then all of a sudden he's talking about something else and you're like, what is going on? Where are we at with this?
It's just because he had it in his head.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that.
You can't, in small doses, yes.
Yeah.
2 months worth, we'll see. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that next year. So that's my preview.
Yeah, well, it's good. I think people, they lose hope and they lose faith in their life because they stop reaching. Something happens. Something happens in their life. They either get tired, circumstances, there's all kinds of reasons, but they just stop reaching. And I think one of the ways to identify that you're healthy is there's a willingness to be disappointed. There's a willingness to be let down. There's a willingness to reach. You think about relationships. Oftentimes, because people get hurt in relationships, they stop altogether. And that's really unhealthy. And I think one of the ways to recognize that you're a healthy emotional person is, hey, I'm going to start to form relationships. I know in doing that, there's a chance that these people could hurt me. I know that I could be let down. But we have to say yes to those things in our life if we want to have health in our life. And I think that's why so many people really struggle with emotional health, spiritual health, and then practically with their health, is because you have to get to the point where you're willing to be let down, you're willing to be disappointed. Well, because if you don't set goals and if you don't set a standard, then what's going to happen? You're going to stagnate. A lot of people stagnate.
You just get stuck in your stuff.
You really get stuck,
Yeah.
right? And so it's like, and that's why that saying is, you'll change when the pain of staying the same, right, outweighs the pain of change. It's because people are like, I don't want to go through that hard thing. Well, going backwards is pretty hard. But we don't think about it like that. We think, oh, I'm gonna stay comfortable. Unfortunately, that comfort creates an environment of complacency. And then complacency just leads to everything negative in life. So we want to keep reaching forward. That's why I think it's so important. The Bible talks about going from glory to glory to glory to glory to glory, a consistent growth. And discipleship, I think, should be understood as a consistent growth in our relationship with God, that we have this infinite creator of immense wisdom and knowledge and understanding. How in the world would we ever be able to understand everything that there is to understand? We cannot do it. And so I think I would encourage all of us, as we think about previewing and setting goals, and specifically around our relationship with the Lord, is, guys, it's God. So if God exists and he's the creator, then there's just like so much to know. And don't worry about trying to know everything, just try to know the next thing. And that's how I've tried to approach my personal relationship with the Lord and my spiritual life. Is every time I open up my Bible and I press in to understanding him, there's just this next thing. I'm like, man, I've been doing this a while. I feel like I've been doing it my whole life. And I have been. I've been a Christian my whole life. And yet, every time that I open up the Bible, I'm like, there's a new lesson. Like today, I'm preparing for Sunday and walking through notes, and this thing about God, I just sit with this thing about God, like, oh man, wow, this is so amazing. And it's so deep. Every single truth about God is deep. Every single one. There's no face value piece of God. So anyway, when you're thinking about setting goals for your spiritual life, I would just relax and recognize that any truth from God is going to be deep, and anything about God is going to be transformational. And rather than try to understand everything, just understand the next thing. And every day, there's a new thing to be discovered and unpacked about God. And that's one of my previews for 2026 for my own life is, as I look forward, I want to keep on growing and developing in my understanding of what it means to be a spiritual leader and a spiritual guide. And I think that is centered on my own spiritual walk, and not stagnating in my own walk, and not stagnating in my pursuit of understanding God, my pursuit of knowing God. I want to know God in a deeper way. And I recognize that that means that there's a daily coming to him. There's a daily understanding. There's a daily questioning. And in 2026, I think that my personality is such where I'm a doer. I like to do things. I like to make things happen. I like to get things done. And I don't want the doing, and I don't want the responsibility that I feel to be the center of my relationship with God. I want to be able to be present in my relationship with the Lord, to understand him, because I desire to understand him. And so, a lot like I was goofing off with you about, it's not your good behavior, Holly. Well, Kirk, it's not the amount that you do that makes God happy with you, right? I want to be pleasing to God ultimately, because I have a healthy fear of the Lord. But in 2026, one of my previews, one of my goals is going to be present in my relationship with God for the purposes of knowing him, understanding that in knowing him, I might have life. That's one of my previews. And then another preview for me is establishing some new campuses for the church. That's kind of a preview. I think in the new year, we'll see some new campuses established for the church. And we'll see some of the international campuses begin to take shape. So it's kind of a preview, I think. And then another preview for me is our physical building here, like getting the building expanded and getting that project done. We've done a lot of work to get the building functional and livable. And then I think our family is growing, and so we need some more rooms. And it's just like any practical family, our house needs to get a little bit bigger. So our house needs to grow in 2026, and that's one of the things that I'll be working on. And then I agree with both of you guys. This format of the podcast and this format growing and this context growing, I think is really important for people to be able to reach truth and be able to connect with people in our community and around those who are kind of searching. So I just did a great podcast with an expert on Islam. I did it on Monday. And the only reason I did that is because we've been doing this and I'm in the rhythm. And you guys have been very important to that. So it's great. We're going to do a series with him. He grew up in Pakistan. He was actually studying to be an evangelist for Islam. He was studying to be essentially a Muslim missionary. That's what his study was. And then God arrested his soul in life. He became a Christian, was cast out of his family, hunted. And for the last 50 years, he's been reaching Muslims with the word of Jesus Christ. Wow. And so I just recorded that with him on Monday. And I recorded that because you guys were willing to be like, hey, Pastor Kirk, you got to do this podcast. And I was like, man, they're so right. We need to do this. And so I'm really appreciative of you guys in that, because I think it's something that we have needed to do for some time. And I'm excited about, the Lord using this in 2026. And then the personal preview that I have, and I try to have a couple things professionally, I try to have a couple things spiritually, and then a few things personally. And another personal goal is for me to invest more intentional time with my family. My kids are really important to me, and I coach my son Finn in soccer, and then my two girls are starting to play soccer, and so they're coming to the soccer field. And so putting time and energy into them, putting time and energy into Finn, and one-on-one time is so important in any child's life, and it's extremely important in the life of a family like mine. And so I want my children to know that Dad loves them, that Dad cares for them, he's present for them, and I want to exhaust myself in doing that. And I want my wife to know that. So in 2026, I'm trying to put them into greater focus and make sure that I have scheduled my priorities. That's the other so important piece of this. And a healthy preview is talking about your priorities, and your priorities need to be scheduled. So if someone says that something's a priority and then makes no time for it, that person's a liar. Yeah. Okay, so if it's a priority and we're gonna focus on it, then we have to schedule it. And it needs to be reflected in a physical schedule. So these are things that I've been working on for the last month, is where am I gonna place everything in my schedule? I can't say something's important and yet not make time for it. And if it's gonna be a priority, it needs to reflect in my time. Time is the one resource we don't get back and we can't get more of. So I believe in managing time well. So those are my previews. As I review, man, just like you guys are reviewing, seeing all that the Lord has done. There were specific things that I felt were so important to this last year that needed to happen, and that I was praying for and fasting for and believing for. Things like people's healing. Just been such an encouragement for me to hear as I look back on the year of how many people have been healed in this last year.
Yes.
So many people, walking in healing, emotional healing, physical healing, spiritual healing, just the whole concept of healing in the church. And I should say this too. Whenever you're going to reach for something spiritually, there's a price that's paid for that. And one of the prices paid for me as I teach and speak on something is I know that there are people who are going to self-elect and say, I don't want any of that. Now, I think it's a bad idea. I think it's a bad idea to say, I don't want any of that healing stuff. I think it's a bad idea to say, I don't want any of that God transforming my life stuff.
What do you mean a price to be paid? What do you?
Well, I'll say it this way. There's consequences for every decision that we make in life.
Yes.
And that's true spiritually too. So someone says, I want to grow my relationship with the Lord. Well, that means that you might need to get new friends. You might need to say, okay, I want to spend more time doing this. Well, that means you're going to spend less time doing those other things, and those people might not be happy about it. So every time we say yes to something, we're saying no to something. And it's true about leadership. It's true about teaching. Every time I say yes to a component of who God is, even though there's depth and there's life to it, there are people who will say, I don't want that. Now, and that's why I said I think it's bad, because I think it's unhealthy. But there are people, so as I've taught on healing in our church, people have left the church. As I've talked about certain things throughout the year and taught on certain things, people have said, no, we don't want any of that. And so as I review and I think about, and I just think it's an important part, I want to be healthy with people. I want to set healthy expectations. Unhealthy expectations are the source of people's frustrations in life. So you should preview, you should set goals, but you got to know that there's a price to be paid to grow. Someone says, I want to get healthier physically. Are you going to get up? Are you going to run? Because there's a price to be paid. Right. And normally that's sweat and effort. So as we've said yes to certain things, there's been a price that we pay for that. That's part of it. And but as I review back and I think about all the Lord has done, and I think about how many people have been healed and how many people have been set free, I would do it all again to see those people set free. There's a price to be paid for that in prayer and fasting and in believing and having faith. The wisdom of the Lord is foolishness to man. So I get up on stage on a Sunday and I say, "This is what God spoke to me." Well, I got you two jokers in church on Sunday thinking, "Yeah, right."
We don't yell it out though.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah. So
some people do, but we don't.
Yeah, I think that as I look back on this last year and I see our building, has a roof. I see our building getting refurbished. It's getting remodeled. We're almost finished, and that's a huge encouragement to me because our whole building was destroyed a year ago.
I was thinking about that while I was reviewing, just how much the church building and just the church congregation has grown.
Yeah.
From, last year with no roof, windows. I remember just water pouring in while I was at the new guest desk and telling people not to walk back to the cabinet.
Don't worry, this is normal.
They're like, I need to get back. I'm like, no, I've got a puddle of water here. You don't need to fall. Well, where's the water coming from? And I'm like, do you not see the window pouring water off of it? It's like our version of Niagara Falls here in Florida, right here beside me.
Not anymore.
It's gone.
It's fixed.
Anymore, it's fixed. Yeah. It's all fixed.
Thought about that, and I thought how many more people are in the church? Mm-hmm. I mean, I know you say that the turnover is high and things like that, but I mean,
if you're not here by 11, you're probably not getting a seat.
Yeah, you're
downstairs.
going upstairs. You got to go upstairs.
Yeah, the church has probably doubled in the last year, I would think. I don't look at the numbers. I know that sounds weird to people. Whenever I tell other pastors, they look at me like, "What's wrong with you?"
Yeah,
because it's like this pastor thing that it's like everyone cares about the size of each other's church. It's like the thing that pastors talk about.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like, "Hi, my name is Kirk. My church is whatever." And it's like this measuring stick with pastors, and it makes me laugh because I don't know, things in church make me laugh, but it's like somehow the size of the congregation justifies you as a leader. I don't know,
yeah.
But I think that there's a certain amount of unhealth that we can have in Christian ministry, and one of the things that is unhealthy is caring too much about the size of the congregation. Healthy things grow, so if you're not growing, I think you have to question whether or not you're healthy. That's true, but growth isn't everything, because we can recognize a tree can grow to the extent that it's unhealthy, and proper pruning is normal for health. we need to prune things in our lives because we can overgrow, we can overspend, we can overeat, we can overexercise. Excess is a problem. Excess growth is an issue. So you want to grow in a healthy way. And attrition or pruning is a healthy way to grow. It's like, no, everyone shouldn't agree. And Jesus, no, everyone didn't agree with Jesus. I'm not Jesus. So it's like, if people found problems with Jesus, people will find problems with me. If people find problems with his teaching and everyone didn't accept Jesus, then who am I? And I think in Christian ministry, there's too many leaders that want to be accepted, and they fall prey to people liking them as being a source of whether they're doing a good job or not. And so I think, no, it's not about me. It's not about liking me. It's about truth, the pursuit of truth, and not everyone's going to want that. So that's why I think there's that attrition. But yeah, the church is probably doubled. There's a roof. There's windows. Water's not pouring in. And that's been great. And also from a staffing standpoint, as I review back and I look at, man, we needed to hire staff. We need to get, like you guys saying, we need to get the right people in. And there's all kinds of work that needed to get done behind the scenes. So that's happened, and that's been really good. I think the staff that have come into our community have been great. And then personally in my life, just growing as a father and as a husband, and my relationships with my family, I think they've grown, they've become deeper and more connected. And my wife's been going through a health struggle for the last 2 years, and that's been difficult for me and for her and for our family. And there have been really hard times, just really, really hard times. On Sunday morning, or as a leader, you need to lead well. So I lead well. I don't open up and talk about all my pains. And it's funny, like as soon as I tell anybody a percentage of how I feel, people are like, oh my gosh, is he okay? What's going on? Because, you just...
As they just pour out their whole life.
Yeah, they just tell me all the... I'm like, man, I just gave you 5% of my life. And it's like, someone needs to check on the pastor. Like, this guy's losing it. Oh my goodness. So there's a reality as a leader that you can't bleed on people. Everyone's got stuff, and I'm not unique in the fact that I've got stuff. So I think learning to live with that and work through it and believe and have faith has been a journey for my wife and I. And I see all these people get healed on a Sunday morning, for instance, and I get emails about how lung cancer is gone and blood cancer is gone and about how whatever. And I go home and my wife is still struggling with seizures. So that's a journey that that I'm on. And I'm like, I am so excited that whatever.
Yeah. But why not me? Why not her?
Yeah. So those are real things that I walk through and have been walking through. And yet, we're still here and we're still doing the things that we're doing that we're called to do. So but I think you can get bitter or you can get better, and that's what how I would sum that up. It's something that I was taught by my mentor. Kirk, do you want to get bitter or do you want to get better? And I've decided, well, I want to get better. Well, that means you're going to grow, and so you can have a bad day or you can have a growth day. And it's like, that's just a pastor play on words. No, it's a mindset. It's a perspective. It's a way of life. It's a culture that you create, and so. I think the Lord calls us to get better, not get bitter. And I think the Lord calls us to grow, and that he is the source of that. So even though we've been walking through some hard circumstances, the Lord's been growing me, and my faith in him has grown. My understanding about him has grown. I've got friends that are walking through terrible hardship and pain, and yet I'm growing as a leader because I'm pressing into the Lord. Help me understand. How do I guide people through pain? What are the answers that you have to this? Our world is in pain, and our world is suffering because of its rejection of God. And so part of being a spiritual leader is walking people through suffering and pain. And I will admit that I need to get better at that, because I'm like, suck it up. My initial response is get out of bed and face your day. And whether I think that there's a true statement to that often. That's true. There are some people who can't get out of bed.
Right.
Because the pain is so overwhelming.
Right.
So what an insensitive jerk to say that to someone. So I think that even though we've been going through difficulty, God's been teaching me a lot about pain. He's been teaching me a lot about suffering. He's been growing me. And as I press into him, to ask him to help me understand. So it's better to understand than to be understood. So I've been trying to understand what people walk through. And it's, I think, helped me become a better leader. So those are the things that some of my reviews as I sit down. And if we can say this, I think people should practice a review and preview every week. I mean,
we can say it.
Yeah.
We can say it for sure.
We should say it. You guys need to practice a review and preview every week of your life. And it's some of what I'm talking to our church about as we end the year is how do you develop healthy relationships? You want a healthy relationship with the Lord, healthy relationships with the people around you. You want to develop healthy systems and processes in your life. And getting a rhythm of sacred times is how that happens. It's how it practically happens. So my question to you guys is, when will your sacred time with the Lord, like when is that time? And when in your week can you do a review and preview? You say you want the podcast to grow and you want these things to happen. It doesn't happen accidentally. It happens intentionally. So when will those times be for you guys, do you think?
Well, one of the things we're doing this year is we're going to do read the Bible from start to finish together. We got a
Bible
study book that
Nice.
I didn't like the one that the church uses.
The one, your Bible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No offense.
Yeah.
I didn't write it.
Too much bouncing around for me from like New Testament.
Can you tell we're
You
married
did
and we
the
live
6-7
together?
Totally.
But we're going to do from Genesis all the way to Revelation together, and it's once a week. So we've decided that on Mondays during lunch, right? Mm-hmm, yeah. Oh, I thought you laughed at me. Laughing at me again.
Not this time. But yeah.
But we're gonna sit down, and it's got questions in the back. So we're gonna take the time during the week to read and answer the questions individually in our own books, and then sit down together and talk things out. And we're pretty good about spending time together, even though we are together 24/7.
Yeah.
But we walk, so we spend a lot of time talking about our lives and things like that. Like what do you want for dinner? What do you want to talk about on the podcast? Those types of things. So we spend a lot of time with our lives, out there to each other.
Yeah.
Discussing whether work stinks. Save the word there, see? And, or, what's going on. So
yeah.
I think my time is before I go to bed or when I wake up in the morning.
Yeah, it's funny when you have kids.
It's like all the time, really. It's random times of the day, but.
Yeah, well, I think the point is that there is a time.
Yeah.
And that time is sacred, that we're really protecting it. I'm going to talk about it with the church, but everyone's the president of the United States. That's how I look at it.
Oh, gosh.
It cracks me up. But in our world, everyone's the president of the United States. Like everyone's constantly checking their phones. Everyone's constantly, I'm so busy. I got so much going on. And it's just this lifestyle of self-importance that is just so unhealthy. It's like, you are not the president of the United States. Stop it.
Yeah.
People are not constantly needing to know what you think about everything. The world is not waiting on your every opinion. Your phone, they're not asking you what's up. Like, you're checking in on them.
Yeah.
And so it's this concept that I think is really unhealthy with people. They don't practice good detachment, healthy detachment. There's unhealthy detachment, and then there's a good detachment. And the good detachment is called the Sabbath, scripturally speaking. And people need to learn to take a real rest. And our culture is terrible at it. Terrible. We get all of our significance from what we do. And it is very unhealthy. And it's why people are so practically unhealthy. It's why they're so emotionally unhealthy. It's like the Sabbath was instituted for rest and getting a healthy rhythm of rest. Pull back, really pull back. Put the phone down. Turn the stuff off. No, everyone's gonna be just fine
Without you for
a minute. And again, it's like, and you're looking at them. You're looking at their life and what they said and commenting on them. So everyone's not the president of the United States. That's what I try to teach people. When I see them doing it, I'm like, Donald Trump, calm down. Chill out. You're not the president. You have time. Take the time. Create rest in your life. Create the rhythm of rest. And I learned it from my mentor. And he was a really scattered person. And he developed patterns in his life that were healthy patterns where he could review, preview, take a Sabbath, take a rest, disconnect. There should be days where people can't get a hold of you. Like, why? Why do they have to call you every 5 minutes? What's the deal with that? You know, I can remember a day without cell phones, and so can you guys. They had to call your house, and if you weren't available, they left a voicemail, and you got to the voicemail, right?
Yeah.
And no one was sending you, like, the question mark emoji is the funniest thing to me on a text message. You guys know what I'm saying? Like the reaction question mark. They sent me a text 15 minutes ago, and then I get the question. Oh, my phone wasn't on me, guys. Like, what are we doing? It's such an unhealthy expectation of relationship and connectivity. It's like, whoa, calm down. Is it really an emergency? It's called the tyranny of the urgent. We suffer tyranny in our lives. We suffer from this. It's not that urgent. God was just fine. The world was just fine before you got here. It will continue after you're gone. And God will take care of it and relax. Rather, just connect.
Yeah.
Connect with people. Be at peace. So,
You talk about the cell phones, and I was reading out of my Bible, like the book.
Yeah, the physical book. Yeah.
And then I stopped doing that, and I started reading it on my iPad or my phone. And I caught myself reading this much compared to this much when I was reading it out of the Bible, because I get a pop-up that,
Right, it's
Paul's like, asking me a question, or a friend's asking to...
Setting the question mark. She's sending you the question mark emoji.
Well, and then instantly, like, I'm all over the place. And then I'm like, oh, I'll answer Hall. Then, oh, I wonder what's going on Twitter. And then I'm scrolling through, and then I catch myself, and I'm like, I just wasted 20 minutes.
Exactly.
And I've read 5 lines in the Bible, like, so I've stopped reading it, and I stopped bringing my Bible to church, and I started like using my phone, and then I'm like, well, I just got an alert that like this soccer game,
Steelers started.
I caught him a couple times doing that,
and I'm like, and now I like refuse to even bring it out, because I just bring my Bible. It's not gonna, my mind's not everywhere.
No.
I'm paying more attention to what you're saying when I have that in front of me.
Right.
And my notebook instead of my phone.
And I like put things on Do Not Disturb. People get so mad at me. They're like, why are you putting things on Do Not Disturb? I'm like, because I don't want to talk to you. Because you don't control my life. It's so funny. Like, everyone is just giving such control away in their life. It's why they're so unhappy. So unhappy. It's like, no, man. Like, that's why I love the boat. On Fridays, part of my Sabbath, part of my getting away is like Fridays on the boat with my family. I go out on the boat for a reason. So I'm disconnected. I'm out. I'm chilling. I'm hanging out with my family. I'm just having those experiences. And I think it's very important if people want to get healthier in their relationships, they want to get healthier in their relationship with the Lord, when is that sacred time going to be? When is it really a priority, or are you just acting like you're the president of the United States?
We're in Armature Works for the tree lighting or whatever a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about the podcast, and she was like, that's a great idea. I'll text Pastor Kirk that we're done. I'm like, no, it's Friday. They're on the boat. And she's like, I can't text him. I'm like, no, that's like his time with his family. Like, text him tomorrow.
Yeah.
She's like, tomorrow's Saturday.
He doesn't have to answer.
I'm like, well, text him tomorrow. He's with his family today. Like,
well, and that's why it's so hard, because you don't want to let people down. You want to connect to them. But I just think that's why practicing personal healthy boundaries is so important. It's like, no, I'm not going to respond to that right now. People have this idea that their inbox has to be at 0 at the end of every single day. And I'm like, man, what a ridiculous concept. How am I going to do that?
Mine would never, ever be in 0.
if it isn't at 0 at the end of the day, just take your phone, throw it away, get a new one, start your whole life over.
Or just hit the delete button, delete everything, start over.
Gosh.
Right? So, but I think I'm glad that you guys brought up the review and preview. I think it's a really healthy thing to learn. Do it every week. I try to do it every week in some capacity. Try to do it every week. I'll look back on the week before, and maybe we'll leave people with a couple nuggets. Okay, so a healthy review is also not just looking at the things that were great, but what were the barriers to success that you had? So you had some things that you want to accomplish on a weekly basis or an annual basis. What barriers did you experience? in that process of getting those things done. And oftentimes unhealthy habits become very clear for us when we're consistently reviewing things. Okay, so as you review, what were the things that I wanted to accomplish? Did I get it done? And then what were the barriers to getting that thing done? What were the reasons why? And if you're not coming up with reasons why, let me help you. You're lazy. So laziness is probably the issue. So a healthy review looks at the successes and the failures, but then says, what were the reasons why? And then as you're previewing, what you're doing is you're saying, how am I going to eliminate those distractions or those barriers to whatever I was setting out to do? So if you can't do that if you don't set a standard. So set a standard. Did I reach the standard? If I did, high fives all around. Okay. If I didn't, why? And then I adjust my behavior in the next week to address that. And I think that's also part of what we do annually. What did I set out to do? What did I do? Why didn't I do it? And then let's be practical. Behavior shift is the only way that anything's going to be different. So don't wait. That's why I'm preaching what I'm preaching out in our church. Like, don't wait to 2026 to try to figure it out. Start now. And so in terms of planning, we've been executing, I'll just say this organizationally, we've been planning all these things for the new year, but most of what we've been doing is we've been assessing 2025, looking into that year, like, okay, what's gone well? What hasn't gone well? What are the adjustments that we need to make? And so we're spending time doing that. And a great consultant taught me years and years ago, he said, Kirk, if I have, let's say I've been given 10 hours to solve a problem, I will spend 8 hours researching and planning and preparing and 2 hours executing. And most people, when they have something to do, will spend 8 hours trying to do it and 2 hours planning and thinking about it. It's why they're struggling so much. So
That makes sense.
That's interesting.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
to look at it that way, yeah.
yeah, you want to spend more time preparing, more time planning, more time working through all the specifics. And then your plan's solid. You don't have to spend as much time spinning around. And so most of the time people have wasted energy, wasted time because they didn't really spend the time to ask themselves the tough questions. Let's deal with the brutal facts. Let's really deal with it, right? And let's create a plan around how we're going to address it. And that works organizationally, it works practically, it works spiritually. What are the brutal facts, right? Let's look at that and make a plan going forward. And you can do that. And it will transform your life. It really, really will. You know, the old things are the best things most of the time.
Yeah.
For sure.
The old things are the best time. But I'm looking forward to the podcast in 2026. I'm looking forward to how it will continue to grow. And we're looking forward to the new year for you as well. You know, God really does want to bless your life. God does. He wants to bless your life. Deuteronomy 5:29 says, oh, that you would have a heart to fear me, that I would bless you in every generation thereafter. God wants to bless your life. He wants us to walk in life, and we have to recognize that that's true, and then ask ourselves, what does He require of us? So as you think about your new year, I would encourage you to be brutal, be honest, be open, review it, right? What didn't go well? What went well? And then what are the changes that we're going to make, you know, as we go forward in 2026? And then let's commit ourselves to do it. Right? Let's commit ourselves to do it. And if you commit all your past to the Lord, and He will bless them. And so I'll pray over us as we enter into the Christmas season and all kinds of cool things going on, but we're also entering into a new year, right?
A fresh start.
Fresh start. So Father, we thank You for all that You've done. As we look back on this last year, we're so grateful. Lord, so grateful. And you have been faithful in our lives. You've been faithful in Matt and Holly's life. Lord, and I thank You for their obedience and consistently coming to You, serve You, and learn more about You. Lord, and I see the benefit that that's had in their life, and I'm so grateful. We're so thankful, Father, as we look back on Holly, and we thank You for continuing to heal her, Lord, that she'll be completely and totally healed, that the bad days will be distance in the past, Father, and that'll be good days, and that You'll continue to shape and form her. Lord, we thank You for Matt and all that You're doing in his life. And we thank You that he doesn't have to fear time with his parents, but that will be great time with them, Lord. And that, Lord, as You continue to grow and develop all of us, we're thankful for this last year. And Lord, we ask You to lead us in this next year, guide us. We don't presume our own path, but we want to walk in Your path. Lord, we ask you and thank you for growing and touching the lives of those that watch and engage with this. Father, that you would grow this platform and that you'd help us reach people. We know that you love this world. We know that you love them individually. We know that you died for them. And Father, I pray for your power and your presence and your spirit to be present in their life, that you would lead them, guide them, and transform them. And we thank you for this new year. We hand it off to you. We know that you'll bless it and walk with us through it.